Dan, let me ask you about the progressives. Will they be putting pressure on Democratic leaders and electeds at the higher levels to oppose this action, or is that divide equally clear?
I think for now it's equally clear. I mean, I'm going to watch people like AOC and the Squad and some of the more vocal progressives who so far are still focused on immigration, whatever we think of that, and not on this. Look, I actually disagree, Mark. I think Trump cares a great deal about MAGA. It's why he is lashing out on X. It's why they instructed somebody to put that fact sheet out. If you don't care, you don't bother to.
Well, I spoke in shorthand. He's not
Yeah,
going to be persuaded by the people who
well,
say this isn't the right moment.
I don't know about that because I think, look, you guys are trying to split a hair about whether this is a full, an invasion with our troops or whatnot, or just kind of a little bit of side assistance. It's true. It might just be we're going to provide B-52s that are 50,000 feet in the air. They're unlikely to get shot. They drop the bombs and they return. The challenge, like it is with Iraq, is what happens after. Let's say it's as successful as we hope. They decapitate the leadership. They're gone. Somebody Versailles style shows up, signs a peace deal, and everyone goes on. Now you have to rebuild Iran. Who's going to pay for it?
Saudis.
Who's going to ensure that it's stable? Because somebody's going to try to rise up.
The Iranian middle class.
With what arms and with what incentive? Like, okay, we hope, because that's exactly what George W. Bush thought in Iraq.
Yeah, but then he put Americans on the ground and tried to manufacture mini Thomas Jeffersons.
Okay, so who is going to be on the ground?
Mossad.
The CIA couldn't handle Iraq. They needed troops. So who's providing all the troops? Who's providing all the weapons? Let's say Israel hits some speed bumps. Who do they call? Daddy. Daddy sits at 1,600
Saudis.
With what military?
Well, the Saudis have a military.
So the Saudi royal family will send Saudi troops to sit with Israel in Iran, and they're not going to worry about what's happening at home in Riyadh. It is Uncle Sam that's going to provide the. I mean, guys, you know where this goes.
You're wedded to the status quo, Dan. You're wedded to a nuclear armed Iran and a seller of terrorism around the world.
Mark, I'm not in any way, shape, or form wed to it. You guys are trying to convince yourselves that the U.S. does it, that this is not an invasion.
Do you want the risk, or do you want the status quo?
Oh, I am willing to do it, but Trump needs to look MAGA in the face and everyone on this and you guys and say, we're going in.
Yeah, but Dan, this is where I don't. I think today that's what the meetings are about. Like Trump's going to say, "I'm not doing this if what Dan says is going to happen."
You can't get a little pregnant, guys. Pregnant.
You can't reject a bold change and not say you're for the status quo, because there's no third option.
But guys, I'm not rejecting it. What I'm saying is you're trying to split the difference to say we're not really part of an invasion. My point is, to all the people out there, I am willing to take this risk. But as a country, the question then is, are we willing to take the full risk Iraq style?
Right.
That's what he's debating.
I don't disagree.
He's debating.
I think what is happening.
I would say yes.
So that is the discussion that is happening.
Yep.
And I think that is why the president is getting his team together and saying, if we do this, if I green light this thing, walk me through what happens. I think that what you're saying is right. And he's getting to a point where he's saying, all right, I want to know who's going to be on there if this happens, who's going to take care. I mean, that's literally the conversation that's going to happen in the sit room today.
And I hope, and Dan, to your point, I hope someone in the sit room says, Mr. President, if we do this, there could be bloody, violent, prolonged revolution and counter-revolution in Iran that leads to a new leader who's no better than what we have now, who then tries to restart the nuclear program. That could happen.
Right.
You got to be honest, that could happen. But as long as there are no American troops on the ground, and as long as the current regime is eliminated and the nuclear program is eliminated, it's the only answer, rather than what the Israeli intelligence says is true, which is Iran is about to have intercontinental ballistic missiles that can be armed with nuclear warheads. And that's not acceptable. It's not been acceptable to our last 5 presidents, and the last 4 didn't solve it. This one might have. We'll get your questions on this matter in a moment.
I agree with that 100%. I want to be very clear about that.
Let's cover it.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, Easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.